Hey everyone, it's Perksay here. So I wanted to share you something that I've been meaning to tell for a very long time. Now, you may know I haven't been posting any videos in a while now. Outside of, the Survivor 47 Sweet, Caroline. Well, that's because I haven't really had any interest posting in YouTube. But that's not the point of the video right now. I'm going to be specifically talk about something that I used to post on YouTube and the community that I was in that I attribute to it. I'm of course talking about the physical media community. Now, if you don't know what that is, it's about all these people in the community going to Goodwill or Savers, Art Thrift Store, or any other thrift store or a record store, whatever, to buy movies in a specific form, whether if it's VHS or DVD. And it was definitely well known in the autism community, and I was a part of it. And I expected fun, sunshine, and rainbows from it, since I actually had fondness I had fondness, my mom getting me VHS tapes at my local Goodwill. Well, not really local, but anyways. When I was going into the VHS community, I expected to be welcomed with open arms, and it was for a little bit. I definitely made some connections here and there, some of them short term, some of them long term, and it's lasted throughout my life. Even Tyler Tresser 2 is back, so shout out to you, Tyler. But while others not so much. Well, I'm going to tell you exactly what happened. So, I started out collecting VHS tapes as normal, and then after a little while, I got hooked into a VHS community forum where I expected that the whole entire community to talk about what they've collected, what special edition, platinum edition VHS tapes and DVDs they showed off. But instead, I was greeted to people who focus more on rage and accusations rather than what they've actually gotten. I'm trying to figure it out. But I do want to warn you, this is your warning, that this video does contain strong language and some adult themes, so viewer discretion is advised. Feel free to click off the video if you're too uncomfortable hearing about stuff like what I'm about to say. I'm giving you 5 seconds to click off. Alright, let's continue. So, when I went on, there were talks about certain people betraying each other, all because they subscribed to one person's hater, and there were even accusations of pedophilia and saying the N-word, which is, both of them were definitely cardinal sins in the community. But if you were accused of that, there was no defending yourself. If you were accused of that, you were automatically driven into a scarlet letter. It was definitely a shit show. Because of how derided my community was because of the drama, I was actually called various awful names, such as faggot, fat, and retard, just awful stuff. Just people were fucking nuts. People were nuts. That's all I'm gonna say. And it got to the point where it started to have a mental toll onto me. I started focusing less on school and more onto the communities I was linked into. And I started hanging out with the wrong people and started to get very, very defensive and angry easily, even causing conflicts with some of my family members. And the stress got so bad that I actually had to call out sick at certain points because of eventual ulcers. And yeah, it was but people didn't see the down effects. And I eventually became so angry that I took my anger out on my VHS tapes, took them into my shed or DVDs, and started smashing them with a hammer and even went to the point of gasoline and lighter. It took a toll on me that much. And I eventually was admitted to hospitals a few times because of how anxiously sick I was getting. It was a mess. And one day it was a unified basketball game I was in. Something triggered my brain. Something triggered me, and I got so upset and went to a breaking point that I smashed my phone onto the bleachers. And my coach actually caught wind of it and confronted me about it and dragged me out of the game. But fortunately, I never got kicked out of the team. Probably because she understood on the distress I was having during that moment. It didn't help matters that it all took place during the COVID pandemic. But during this time, I lost so many friends because I was stuck in this limbo of whether I wanted new friends or this community. And because I was so driven into this community, I didn't have time to grow. I didn't even know about true relationships or friendships, and I ended up with a toxic relationship online. And I don't want to go into further detail because it's too much, but just and after that, people eventually found out who I really was. Like, they found out about my sexuality, they found out that I was autistic, and I lost a lot of friends. All because of this group. Well, not really because of this group, but yeah. But I made a sarcastic comment on someone that keeps collecting the same VHS tapes over and over, and it was the 1991 French-Canadian VHS of Fantasia, and one guy in particular collected it on a broader basis, and I made a sarcastic comment on his videos when his recent one was breaking, and like, you get to buy the VHS tape as much as you want, and I will never know you again. And he got so angry that he said, I now hate Pierce Abasso, go fuck yourself, you go buy this for making that shitty comment. In every single white knight of his started to turn against me. I mean, that was the problem of the community. If you defended yourself, you were already out. No questions asked. And I ended up not going to this. And basically, I didn't even know what I wanted to do in life after I left the community, after I got sick. Basically, I was at a time that I was required to know what I didn't know. And I applied to a college I wanted to go to, but I didn't get accepted. And I was stuck with a community college. And I didn't really have much friends, so I was basically left to fend for myself. And it took me a little while to come to terms of who I really was. And basically, after a couple years, I've come to terms of what I was, but with conditions. Some of my family members cut off all contact with me, and some friends did so as well. And I ended up causing some ire in some people, and even some in my town. And even, what else was I going to say? Because of how disconnected I was from outside of the VHS community, I had no idea how scams actually worked. And so I ended up losing $1,000 on an IRS scam, and basically I had to rework my way. But after that, I figured out I want to do social work around that time. I'm not sure when it was. And then I applied for the other school I wanted to go to, and I got accepted. Hooray! But ever since then, I found new friends. I found a new community that was way more flexible and didn't heavily rely on VHS tapes and certain things that made a community great. And even got to meet some famous faces over time. I went to Comic-Con, I went to Survivor watch parties. I was basically all over the place. And yeah, that's my life for you. And I'm just glad that it's over with, because who wants to spend the rest of their time with a bunch of people who always accuse each other and just calls each other horrific names? Who does? But I'll tell you, studying social work I definitely take that any day of the week rather than staying with those people again, with the exception of Tyler Black. He is awesome. And also some other friends. Michael Rizzo and Al Behan, I'm rooting for you. Well, anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video. Sorry for the adult theme. Well, not really. But that's what really happened to me. But thanks for watching. Please subscribe, and I hope to do more videos. Alright, take care, y'all. Happy Autism Awareness Month.